So Sarah, lots of people had many different experiences over the lockdown of what is 3 months now. Yours must be one of the most extreme in terms of having to spend the whole time at home. So, so what's it been like? How have you coped?
I think to begin with, it was really quite difficult because I'm somebody that likes to go out every day. And for the first probably months, stopping myself going out was really hard. But as time has gone on, I don't want to go out. There's
Right.
almost been a situation where like, oh, out there is bad for me, inside is safe. So 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 I kind of feel like being inside is safer. So even when we've had the opportunity to go out in the last few weeks just for a walk once a day, I haven't taken it because I don't feel it's safe. I think the toughest thing is not being able to be with my husband James and us being shielded from each other for now 3 months. Well, we keep at least a metre apart, where possible 2 metres apart. So we have different plates, different cups. We're sleeping in different rooms. So I've now moved into our spare room, which is very much decorated all pink, and James is still in our room, which he has very much made his own space. Even if we want to shake hands, we put gloves on and masks on. And then occasionally we might sit next to each other on the sofa, but then we would both put a mask on and gloves and a mask. And then you can't stay like that for more than about 5 minutes because it's way too hot. I have a injection once a week, which is a plasma infusion. So I think it's going to take a while before people with COVID antibodies and that starts going into my infusion, which might take up to about 2 years.
Wow.
So it's only then will it actually start being safe for me. Part of the problem is with injections, because it's all to do with the my immune system, the injections possibly won't work for people like myself.
So you're in it for the long haul.
Well, yeah, I'm hoping that that this week the government should be updating advice on what we're allowed to do. So I'm hoping that we can't stay in for 2 years. That just wouldn't work. So hopefully that with taking precautions, wearing masks, wearing gloves, staying away from people, that maybe we will be able to start to get back to some sort of normal.
And so you've been busy during lockdown.
Yes, I have. Probation is frontline. Probation officers and service officers are frontline officers. So we've been quite busy, and I work in part of probation where we deal with estates. Is our bread and butter. We deal with our estates. We look after our buildings, but we also manage change. So the business area is called business strategy and change. And as you can tell, there's been a lot of changes recently. So yeah, so we've been really, really busy. Yeah.
So how's your health been?
Up and down, but it's not too bad. I've been close to having to go into hospital, but I haven't gone. So, but I've taken up jigsaw puzzling, which has been fun. So
wow.
It's been helpful in a way. The goal for me is not to finish the puzzle, but to have something to take a break with during work. I can take 5 minutes break and go put some towels down and come back to work. And yeah, I'm more of an introvert, so I haven't had any issues with being stuck at home at all. I mean, I'm shielding, and I've only been out twice since lockdown started, and that was to have blood tests and ECG at the hospital. But every time I go out, there's this anxiety. I need to go back home. I want to go back home. I don't want to stay outside. Yeah, so I don't find it difficult, but I know that most people do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things I've found most difficult, I don't know about you, is for about 3 months now, not being able to have any holiday. And I had planned probably in this time sort of about 3 different times to be away from home. And I find it really hard to wind down when you're at home.
Yes, yes. I don't. I did. I took because I'd booked a week off when it was for Catalyst.
Yeah.
So I booked a week off already, and I planned to go to Catalyst, but of course that didn't happen. That week I didn't cancel the holiday. I just stayed at home. I planned to do a few things, do some painting, because I bought a few canvas and some paint, and I wanted to do some, lovely painting. But that didn't go according to it. That was the week I was really ill, so
All
I
right.
had to, stay in bed, which wasn't what I planned. But
Isn't that ironic? The week you have off, you're ill in bed.
I know. I got back to got logging back into work the week after, and my colleagues were saying, "Oh, maybe you need to take another week off."
But in the close, I started building closer and closer relationships, and then we had the clapping, and God gave me a vision, a sort of praying for the people in the close, praying as a sort of type of mini service, as it like. And I mentioned it to a friend of mine in the church, and she said to me, she said, "Go and do it. There's no good just talking about things. Do it." So, being a bit chicken, I rang. We got a lovely Nigerian family. So I went and knocked at the house, and asked her husband. I told him what I had in mind, and I said, "Is your wife? Can she sing? Has she got a good voice?" And he said to me, "It's not for me to say." And I said, "That means she has." And she's got the most powerful voice that black people just seem so gifted with. And so I had no right to do this, but after the clapping, I had a whistle, and I blow the whistle, and everybody was stopped clapping. And I'm talking about 30 people probably. And I introduced Kemi, and she sang, I think the first song was "How Great Thou Art." And I finished off with a prayer at the end. And people were clapping. We had a nurse down the close, Nicole, who she works in the front line. Apparently she knows Prasanna. And so the neighbours, I thought it was appropriate we gave her a little gift, and it just seems to have blossomed. And tragically, very recently, we've had 2 suicides. One, a man lives in the close and left behind a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old. And another man, although he doesn't live in the close, he lives in just round the corner, and he has a garage in the close, and he hung himself on a Saturday afternoon, again leaving behind an autistic 29-year-old and a 24-year-old. And I had a little bit of a history with this, not the best of relationships, but God told me to go and knock on the wife's door. Well, I thought it was God anyway, so I went and knocked, and it was beautiful. She thanked me so much for coming to just say how I felt for her. And both wives gave permission, and we had a little mini service down here in memory of the two men. And women had asked me to explain that they wanted people to try and treat them as normal, as it were. So if they bumped into them, to just not ask questions. And they said over time, they'd be able to maybe explain things. But they just wanted to be treated as normal, so people to smile at them, wave to them, whatever. And so it's been totally unusual. Where we go from here, within our close, I'm not certain, but the people have come up to me and said certain things. A man said to me last Saturday night that he confided in me that he prays. It touched me because he said every night he prays, and he said he prays
You can say as much as you like, Mike.
El Olam, the Hebrew, El Olam, as that's ELOLAM. Its translation is everlasting God.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you're living in everlasting God close.
That's right. Yeah.
Hallelujah.
Praise the Lord.
Hallelujah.